is now time for our dishonorable mentions. These are the stories of people that caught our attention this week that deserve a call out either for their good or for their stupid. You want me to get started?
Yes, please.
All right. There is an Instagram reel. These are a couple of different like things that have been sent to me by friends over the past couple of weeks. And there's an Instagram reel or TikTok video where there is a guy who's talking about what you do if you have a gap in your resume and you are like going into a job interview. Take a listen to this. Take a listen.
I know exactly which clip you're talking about.
If anyone's like, can you explain this gap in your resume? You know what you have to say, right? Say, no, I cannot. I signed an NDA. Listen, the system
advice.
The system was never built for us, so stop working for it, okay? Lie. I don't know what else to tell you.
So this was brilliant. I thought, like, telling them you signed an NDA, like, I never would have thought of that. And, like, as many NDAs as I've signed, like, why not, girl?
Right.
But what I really loved in this was, like, he says, the system was never designed for us to stop working. And I was like, oh, damn, right? As we talk about success, as we talk about capitalism on the show, we talk about all the various different things. But like the idea that people have gaps in their resume as being a detriment to their possibilities of getting other jobs or slowing them down from other opportunities, wording it that way was just so perfect to me. The system was never designed for us to stop working. I was like, oh, I have to share this. Another piece of video that was shared with me from TikTok was a man talking about non-monogamy and polyamory and like how that shows up in their lives. And I've talked here before about being a non-monogamous polyamorous person. I am identifying more as polyamorous now than non-monogamous, not because of anything that has changed about what I want, so much as I don't want to continue to censor monogamy and call myself non-monogamous. But in this conversation, he is talking about why he feels this way. Take a listen.
Non-monogamy doesn't mean like I'm just trying to be a hoe and around all the time.
Okay.
What it means is the idea is always open to explore, no matter if I have a partner or not. So if I have a partner and we want to be monogamous for a while, that's cool. But for me, non-monogamy is just that open conversation of like, hey, I felt attracted to
Baby, this clip in here, this moment where he says, I'd rather work through jealousy than work through dishonesty. The way it stopped the whole room on the podcast that he's on, it stopped me too. I was like, that is a perfect way to think about the ways that we are having conversations in our relationships about the things that we want, about who we are, about how we show up. And I'm not saying that because I think everybody needs to be non-monogamous or polyamorous, and I'm not saying that everybody needs to be having those conversations, but like that resonated with me in such a way because I'm like, I would much rather have conversations with you about how you're feeling, about why you're feeling it, how we can work through it, than you did what, right? You broke what promise? You betrayed my trust. How, right? You went against whatever rules we have set up for this relationship to work. I'd rather work through jealousy than through dishonesty. Just really hit for me. What were you going to say, Tre'vell?
Well, I was going to say that I don't think you were saying you were trying to making clarifications about what you were and what you're not saying. And I was just going to add that I think you're also not saying that monogamy automatically means dishonesty as well.
Sure. Well, yes, because like in the clip, he talks more about that. And so that's a great point. I want to give a shout out to, never thought I'd be shouting out Snoop Dogg here, but there's a new album from Snoop Dogg called Doggyland Kid Hits. I'm really excited about this only because there's a TikTok video of a little girl who is like freestyling to the song. There's a song called Affirmation Song. If you have kids, you can look out for the Doggyland Kid Hits. There's two different like albums, a volume 1 and a volume 2. And one is like the alphabet. One is about cleaning up. One is about all these different things. And it's like Snoop Dogg. But like the Affirmation Song, there's a video of this young girl named, I believe her name is Van. And she's like dancing and like she's doing it. She's the cutest little black girl with this vibe, and she's like spitting bars. It's fantastic. If you have kids or you just like kids programming, go check out Doggyland Kid Hits, wherever you get your Slay-worthy audio. Finally, we talked about the Schomburg here before, and the Schomburg, if you're not familiar with it, is a fantastic archive of Black history in New York City, in Harlem. And I was just there, and I got to tour their current exhibit. with the help of author Stephen Fullwood. And the exhibit is called Marking Time, the Arts in the Age of Incarceration. And like, I just was so moved by what I saw. I was only able to be there for an hour, and I was like, I got to come back and like be able to see more of it. It is in the Schomburg through December 4th. If you're in the area or you're going to be visiting New York, they describe it as Marking Time explores the impact of the U.S. prison system on contemporary visual art. And so there are various different pieces that are made by folks who are incarcerated or by their families, or the ways that, or the various different people who have been impacted by incarceration. And it is an extraordinary exhibit. So go check that out if you're in New York City. Again, it is there through December 4th. So go check it out. That's all for me.
I just have one honorable mention this week. We are in, Emmy season. And Emmy season for me is about the, roundtable discussions that all of the trade publications and the LA Times do around these different categories. And I think I've said on the show before that, I often, will watch an interview on the YouTubes, because I less so for the celebrity or whatever that's being interviewed, but like, I'm looking at the interviewer. Many of these folks who are not journalists, for many of these interview-based shows, check out our Breakfast Club episode, for example, if you would like more on that.
Oops.
But I wanted to shout out in particular the Hollywood Reporters roundtables, as well as the LA Times's The Envelope roundtables. And I want to shout out the folks who are in the moderator seat for those, because it's such a hard job to have 7 top tier actors or directors or producers or whomever at a table and seamlessly weave through their different projects to know all of the information that you have to know about the project that they're representing this year, but also their history. And, I don't give too many kudos to white women or white people on this here show. However, Lacey Rose in particular at the Hollywood Reporter is masterful at it. Masterful. I be watching her round tables, and some Cheryl Lee Ralph will give some sort of inspiring moment, and then Lacey Rose will pick up on a very small thing that Cheryl Lee Ralph has said and spin it into another question for somebody else. And I'm like, ooh, the talent, ooh, the skill set. I'm like, ooh, yes, girl, you did that. And so I just wanted to, encourage you all to check out, those roundtable discussions, because I just think many of them are done very well, largely due to the person who's in that moderator seat. So shout out to Lacey Rose in particular. Also shout out to Lorraine Ali, who does them, who has done some of them for the LA Times, Yvonne Villarreal as well, Amy Kaufman over at the LA Times as well. All former fabulous colleagues of mine. But Lacey Rose in particular, I said, girl, I see you. And so that's my only honorable mention.
We should send that to her, because like she'll be one of the few white women who can say that she has a Tre'vell Anderson honorable mention.
She'll add that to her resume, right?